In this episode, Luffy demonstrates a basic understanding of rock, paper, scissors. Kuro's claws are the scissors, and Luffy's got the rock.
This is the intro song to the podcast King of the What Now. Join us as we go on a journey, going to talk about pirates, battle and adventure. We think we're pretty funny, we hope you will too. Luffy, he's gotta be the king of something. We weren't really listening, sorry about that. Hopefully he'll achieve his dreams, yeah.
Hello, fellow Grand Line adventurers, and welcome to episode 14 of King of the What Now. I'm Joel, your host. As with me, as always, Curtis.
Hi.
Okay, so we've just watched 4 episodes. I personally think that we spend too much time doing kind of a summary, so why don't we try to hit the high points? What happens immediately after Luffy punches Kuro? How does the power struggle shake out?
Okay, so after Luffy punches Kuro, we've got the 3 kids who were following Kaya at the end of the last episode.
Right. We forgot to mention it. They're kind of forgettable, but turns out they're actually going to play a role in this arc.
Yeah. So they come up and they try to help, but they just end up pissing off Kuro. And Kuro gets up and is going to take them out, but Usopp tells them to run away with Kaya. So they run away with Kaya. Django goes to follow them under Kuro's orders. Follows, basically. Mm-hmm. And then Usopp wants to get up, but can't get up. So then Zoro comes and helps pick him up.
And picks him up or whatever.
Yeah, so he's going to carry him. And they go to leave. And Kuro goes to stop them, but then Luffy interferes, and so they follow. So now at this point, we've got the kids and Kaya in the forest, Django chasing them, and Zoro and Usopp in pursuit.
Yes, and Usopp's so badly hurt that Zoro has to carry him, and Zoro is so bad at directions that even as Usopp is saying, take a left, Zoro can't take a left. He's literally too stupid and too bad with directions. So that's why they haven't caught up to Django and beaten him yet.
Yes. And I believe at some point in here, Butchie got defeated.
Yeah, he'd been hypnotized to be stronger. I think Zoro just cuts him. It doesn't, really, there wasn't any kind of, he didn't have to use any kind of tricky techniques. He just attacked him a couple more times.
Yeah, he swords him real good.
Yes.
So then left on the beach at this point, we've got all the pirates at the bottom of the hill.
Fodder.
Yeah. Nami is on the ship. She got up and decided to go grab their treasure, right? And then we've got Luffy and Kuro near the top of the hill. So now Luffy and Kuro are going to duke it out, and Kuro pulls out his secret technique, which is called out of the back
attack.
Yeah.
You wanted it to be called out of the bag attack because of the whole cat motif, but I guess back and attack rhyme. I don't know. He doesn't seem to attack people's backs, which I kind of thought might have been where the name came from.
So basically he just zips around the battlefield so fast you can't see where he's at and just attacks randomly. Yeah. So he starts taking out the pirates at the bottom of the hill mostly. I think he hits Luffy a couple times, but not much. Luffy reaches out, grabs Kuro. He gets hit on the side and then grabs him by the coat, right? Mm-hmm. To stop him from taking out the pirate crew because he thinks it's a bad thing that he's taking out his own pirates. So he's identified that he can, find Kuro during all this through one means or another and stop him, right? So he stopped him. At this point, Kuro refocuses on Luffy specifically.
Because I think what happened was the Kuro basically is I don't like pirates, even though I myself was a pirate. So he started attacking his own crew because, A, they're barbarians and he hates them, but also his plan was to kill anyone who knew that Clawdor was Kuro and their loose end. So he starts attacking them, but when Luffy's I'm going to hit you really hard, he's all right, I'll take out this rubber guy first and then worry about my crewmates.
Yeah. So he goes to attack Luffy again. Luffy grabs a large boulder and blocks the attack, and then breaks off one set of his claws. So it's one of his 2 hands now clawless.
Yep. I think you got that backwards, by the way. The rock came first, and then later Luffy did the got attacked thing.
Oh, you're right. No, you're right. The rock came before the other bits.
Listeners, we're going to find a way to better take notes. We took literal bullet notes, but it's every major development in each episode, and that was actually a little bit harder for us to read and sound not like we were reading off a script. We want this to be kind of more organic. We'll find a way to be succinct, be accurate, and not sound like we're reading off of something.
So can we just finish up the Kuro side of it, and then we'll go follow the Force side? I think it'll be easier.
The Kuro stuff and the Django stuff are happening simultaneously, and there's never a moment where someone finishes one fight and runs off to finish the other.
Yeah. So let's just continue. So they, so we had the Rock, and then we had the out of the back attack on the pirates, and then he goes to do the out of the back attack on Luffy. Luffy, I remember, he stretches his hands along the ground, grabs his legs, pulls himself up, and then wraps himself around him.
Yeah, like arms around Kuro's shoulder, legs around Kuro's waist, sort of thing.
So at this point, you start to hear some, kind of pornographic music. I'm sorry. It is kind of like an awkward position that they're in, but he moves his head all the way back.
Like stretches it.
Yes. And then he swings it forward and headbutts him. I think he calls it a Gum Gum Bell.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, he had a couple other attacks I think we skipped over. But he has several new Gum Gum attacks in this. There's Gum Gum Bell, Gum Gum Spear, which is one with his legs.
He's attacking with his two legs together. It visually looks like a spear, but real life I don't understand how that would do any damage.
Yeah. I think we already had Gum Gum Whip.
It was in the special defeat Gonzak, but this is the first time in the main. Anyways, yes.
Yeah. So he uses Gum Gum Bell, headbutts him, and takes out Clawhador. Or,
Kuro. It's the same person. Also, the glasses shatter.
Yes.
Which is how you know he's truly been defeated and he's not faking it.
And there's also some good parallelism at that point with the other fight that's happening in the forest. So in the forest, we've got the kids are running away with Kaya, and Django's hot on their tail. Meanwhile, Usopp and Zoro are just kind of lollygagging around the forest because they don't know where they're going.
They're running at top speed, but they're running in random directions.
Yes, because we find out that Zoro is also bad at directions. So it's a good thing they got a navigator because both him and Luffy suck at this. So Django finally catches up with them, and the kids try to trick him into coming into a trap by raising a white flag. And he goes, I'm not going to fall for that. And then he falls for that. And he gets trips over a wire, goes through a series of traps that end with the kids jumping down to hit him in that, over the head or something. Mm-hmm. He reaches up and grabs one of them and dodges the other two and grabs them by the throat and is going to kill them. But Kaya seeing this comes up and says, no, don't kill the kids. I'll do whatever you want. Just don't kill the kids. Oh, no. So she offers that, but I think he's still going to kill him. So she grabs his weapon and threatens to kill herself.
She puts it to her throat sort of thing.
Yeah, and that would be before signing the will, which she needs to do so that
the plan can work.
Yeah, exactly. The plan being, I don't remember if we went over it last time, but the plan being that Kuro as Clawhador would get all the stuff.
Yes.
So he's like, okay, I won't kill them. She fills out the will. He's going to kill her, and at that point, Usopp and Zoro finally find them. Zoro drops Usopp, goes to attack, can't get close enough without...
he gets about halfway, and Django is like, hang on, you want to save her, right? I'll kill her if you get any closer. Although he wants to kill her anyway, so I don't even know why he's hesitating. But Zoro can't get close enough with his swords, which are a short-range weapon.
Yes. So instead, Zoro chops off a branch that's blocking Usopp's view, and Usopp shoots an explosive thing at him with his slingshot and takes out Django, and his glasses fall off, but he falls face forward on the ground. We don't get to see his eyes.
No, it's too sensuous to be able to see Django's eyes.
I'm guessing so.
If he can hypnotize you that much with just his chakra, or chakram, whatever it's called, then... just how much power does he have if he uses his gaze on you?
Yeah, and people would just fall head over heels and do whatever he says.
Exactly.
So they take him out. So at this point, both the major enemies are defeated. Mm-hmm. Luffy gives Kuro back to the Black Cats and says, "Get out of here!"
Literally throws him, and they're like, "Take your stupid captain."
Mm-hmm. So they leave. And they've got the treasure from Nami, and they've defeated all their enemies. They regroup on the beach. Flash forward, everyone's kind of doing normal post-battle stuff.
Eating in Luffy's case.
Yeah. Usopp goes and packs all of his things because he's going to leave, and he leaves the Usopp pirates behind. He disbands them, but it seems like the kids are still going to be a thing.
Sure.
And importantly, Kaya, as thanks, gives the Straw Hat Pirates a ship called the Going Merry, named after Mary, the other butler, the better butler that's not going to kill Kaya.
Yes. Well, in addition, he has the lamb horns and the lamb wool on his head, and the mast of the ship is a lamb head.
The bow.
Sorry, is that what it's... Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the actual bow ornament is, but the bow is the front. The mast is like the thing that holds the sails.
Okay, I thought the masthead was the thing at the front. It doesn't matter. There's a thing at the very front, and it's a lamb's head based off of Mary. The ship's also named after Mary. Mary is the better butler, but he is also an egotist.
Apparently,
Egoist.
yeah, you're right. For somebody who comes across as so nice, he's also very into himself.
Yes.
So they get the ship. They're going to leave, and Usopp wasn't on the ship, but then they tell him to get on the ship. They never really invited him. Luffy just goes, "What are you doing? Get on the ship."
Yeah. So Usopp has decided he's going to go off and become a pirate, officially. He's been trying to decide one way or the other, but this event has proven to him that he wants to go out to sea.
Yeah.
You'd think that a coward like him would actually be more afraid of going out to sea, but you know what? Whatever. And he says, we'll see each other on the high seas, and Luffy's like, what are you talking about? And Usopp goes, well, because we're going different ways, but once we see each other, we're still friends. And Zoro goes, no, just get on the ship, stupid. And Luffy's like, yeah, you're already our friend.
Yeah. And minor thing, Usopp says, yes, I'm finally going to be Captain Usopp. And Luffy's all, no, I'm the captain. I don't think that actually anything comes from that.
No, I think it's just a nice little joke.
Yeah. So that's the end of those first three that we watched for this. I think that was 15, 16, and 17.
Correct.
Episode 18 of the anime is a one-shot where they go to Treasure Island. Not the Treasure Island but different Treasure Island.
It's called Treasure Island, but it doesn't seem to have any kind of similarities from what I remember of the Treasure Island story.
Yeah. So they go to Treasure Island, and there's all these storms and that, and it's supposed to be protected by a god. They get there, and it's dark, and there are all these weird animals that suddenly start coming out. And then they hear a voice telling them, no, you must turn around.
Weird animals in what way?
Oh, yeah. So they're like hybrid creatures. So you've got like, I think one of them was a rabbit snake. So it was like a snake with a rabbit's head.
The rabbit ears, yeah, and there was like a koala or something, or maybe like a panda that had bat wings. So they're all like weird creatures that don't occur naturally.
Yeah, my favorite was still the rhinoceros kangaroos.
Yes.
It basically looks like a Kangaskhan. That's great. I think that's an okay reference, Joel.
I don't know if people know what a Kangaskhan is.
If you watch One Piece and don't know what a Kangaskhan is, I would be surprised, but I'm sure there's some people out there. Anyways, so they are on the island, scary creatures. Oh yeah, the voice. So there's a voice telling them, no, you must turn around. And then the voice starts saying like questionable things like back in the old days or when I was a pirate. And they're like, wait, what kind of god are you? And so they find out, oh, he's not a god. It's some guy in the bushes. And Luffy chases after him. And it turns out it's a guy with like a shrub for hair, like a giant green afro basically. And
it is a giant green afro. It just happens to look like a shrub.
Was that?
Yeah, that's 100% his hair.
Oh, I thought that was like a bush that he
was growing out of his head.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Anyways, and then he's also trapped in a treasure box.
Yep.
So like he got into a treasure chest at some point 20 years ago, and he just can't get out of it now. So he's been stuck in this treasure chest. It's probably full of things that we don't need to talk about. I was trying to figure that out. It's not something I think we're supposed to worry about.
Ignore that logic.
Yeah. But it turns out his backstory is he came here with a pirate crew 20 years ago looking for treasure, and all they found was one empty treasure chest, and they were about to leave, and he's like, hey, I don't think anyone checked out on top of this mountain here.
Yeah, there's a really tall, really hard to climb rock formation, and it's clear that there's like a plateau at the top.
So he climbs up and sees 6 treasure chests up there. He's like, hey guys, I found the treasure, but then he falls down and lands on the bottom, doesn't die, but apparently the rest of the pirates just leave him there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he landed in the treasure chest in such a way that he got stuck, and he also got knocked out by bonking his head, so by the time he woke up, everyone had left, even though you'd think that they'd take a head count.
Yeah. So, hearing this sad story, the Straw Hat crew says, okay, you know what? We'll help you get that, and it's your treasure. You've been guarding it for 20 years. You can have it. So Luffy uses his stretchy arms, gets up on top of the rocks, and then you don't hear anything for a bit. And then he says, you know what? I'm not going to give these to you. And then they're all, what a jerk you are. But
Gaimon.
Gaimon.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember his name.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Gaimon, who's the guy who's been stuck on the island this whole time, says, "Oh, thank you for doing this. I always thought that might be the case." And it turns out they were actually empty, so he was trying to let him down easy. Mm-hmm. So he's basically wasted 20 years on this island. But it's not a waste, because he made new animal friends, and that's what's most important.
Of course. There's also, Luffy asks Gaimon to join them as a Straw Hat pirate crew member, and Gaimon decides that he can't leave because these animals are his precious friends.
Yes.
Although I don't know much about bunnies and snakes and bats and koalas, but I assume that these creatures can't live for 20 years, and we didn't see two animals of the same type, so I wonder how many of these are actually original friends and how many of these are just like generation 2.
How do you think the hybrid creatures were formed, Joel?
Oh, jeez.
They're just going to get more and more exotic at this point.
Yeah, if the snake rabbit and the cow turtle somehow have an offspring, now you got 4 genes, or 4 species in the mix. Okay. So, now that you've summarized these episodes, did any of them feel like filler?
The last one.
It did, really.
Episode 18 felt like filler, Joel. What was that about?
I don't... It's in the manga.
Oh, is it really?
It really 100% is. It's not filler, but what a weird episode. I like One Piece, and I like some of its weirdness, but that one just feels... Most of the stuff in the East Blue Saga that we've seen so far is pretty regular stuff. Like, hypnotism is a real-world thing, storms are a real-world thing, maces as a weapon, axe hands, like, those all kind of feel normal. And then you randomly get an island that has these weird hybrid creatures, and a guy with giant green hair that looks like an afro, or a shrub, rather.
Yeah. So just to clarify, in this show, most animals are normal animals, right? They're not like hybrid, like
no, this
Avatar Last Airbender style, like
right.
hybrids.
Most animals that you see will either be completely made up, or they will be regular animals that you're used to seeing.
I just want to make sure, because I was like, well, I mean, maybe that's just part of the show. Maybe I'm missing something.
They're unfolding. They're having you be curious, so that way when they go to the mixed animal zoo next episode and no one bats an eye, you go, oh, it's normal. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, could be. Okay, so none of these are filler, not even the defeat of Captain Kuro, because that obviously would be the highest candidate for how that's play out.
You build up, and then in the manga it just stops there, and they're on Treasure Island.
Absolutely. Okay, so what did you think of these episodes? And remember that I don't expect you to be able to say, well, was this scene from this episode? Other than 18, which is a standalone, but all of the Kuro stuff, you're free to lump in together.
I did not like episode 18.
Okay.
Just because, it's kind of like, you come off this really high, like, good fight scenes and just, like, interesting interactions between characters in that, and then this one's just kind of like, doesn't really advance any of the characters. It's just, I don't know, it's just a random story.
I agree. I think that some people would definitely get mad at the flashbacks that happen in One Piece, which are gonna get longer, but I think some of the stuff that makes Kuro so good as a villain and Usopp so good as a protagonist, and what makes their conflict so interesting, is how much time you do get those details. Yeah. Gaimon, you get 1 episode, and the flashback is like, well, that's kind of dumb. I think if you had found a way to make it more episodes, you could have made the emotional impact of the treasure chest being empty and him deciding to stay on the island more meaningful, but we didn't get that.
I do think I liked the Kuro fight bits.
Yes.
Because, one, he's a more powerful opponent, right? And then just his ability to move so quickly makes him very difficult to defeat. And I mean, this is early on, so I wasn't expecting anything spectacular, but Luffy's solution to it was, it was good, and it used just very basic stuff, right? It was like, let myself get hit once so that I can find him. Mm-hmm. The other one's just kind of like, catch him early on before he gets moving.
Sure. In case anyone's reading or listening to this, reading this goodness, but if anyone is listening to this and they haven't seen the episode or they don't remember it or anything like that, so Luffy gets hit in the side, and you can tell by the way that the claws are moving, he thinks to himself, you don't hear the inner monologue, but he's essentially figuring out that Kuro must be running that direction to my right side, so he reaches out and manages to catch him. Not only that, but like I said, I really like Kuro. think about how much strength he'd have to have behind that grip so that Kuro running at, basically light speed, sort of, he stops that momentum and then throws Kuro on the ground. Like, his shoulder must be sore after a throw like that.
I mean, he is made of rubber.
That's certainly true.
And something we didn't talk about in the summary was the flashback with Kuro. About, like, the basis of why he started all this. So, his reason...
Not why he became a pirate, but why he started the plan.
Yeah, exactly. Because he wants to stop being a pirate. He's tired of dealing with all of it and all of the difficulties that come with it. He just wants to settle down with a lot of money.
Yep.
So, there's in the flashback, I think it's 3 years ago, because the plan's been going on for 3 years. They're getting attacked by a Navy ship. And he goes over and takes all of the ship out on his own. Also with the crescent moon in the background, which may or may not be important. I don't know yet. But it's been pointed out to me, so I figure I should pay attention. Then he picks a random crew member. Well, actually, Django does it for him.
I think the fact that he looks like Kuro is also important, because he had the glasses and the same kind of hair. He was a little pudgier, but I think they wanted someone who was a close lookalike.
Yeah. Then Django hypnotizes the crew member to think that he's Captain Kuro, and he hypnotizes the one survivor of the Navy ship, who happens to be Captain Morgan, who has now had his jaw crushed.
By Kuro, yes.
Yes. They didn't show if he lost his arm or not. I was waiting,
know.
But anyways... And convinces Captain Morgan, or hypnotizes him to think that he did, in fact, capture Captain Kuro.
Yes.
So then he takes, eventually he would take Kuro back and have him executed. I'm assuming that's how he gets promoted to captain. Because I guess at that point, he probably wasn't Captain Morgan. He didn't seem like he was in charge. Mm-hmm. And then it's also some backstory for why he has an iron jaw. I'm assuming they probably have some backstory for why he has an axe hand. Knowing the way these shows go. They didn't explicitly show it in this one, so it probably comes up later.
Could be.
There's also a little fun bit, because Django constantly hypnotizes himself, where they're sailing away on the ship, and it just has Django with his arms outstretched saying, "I am the world's best marine, and I've captured Captain Kuro." Because that's what he told Axehand Morgan too. So
100%, yes. I love the connection between the pirate and the marine that we've already met. As you pointed out, when it turned out Buggy and Shanks had a connection, it just makes the world feel more connected. And not everyone is connected to the same one pirate. These two people over here have a connection to this person over there, and then it creates this kind of like, I don't know how to describe it.
Well, it also explains how Axehand Morgan became a captain and like a leader of a base in that, because it doesn't... I mean, I guess he's ruthless. I'm sure he could do it if he really wanted to. But it gives like a more, I guess, convincing and satisfying reason behind his ascension. It wasn't really him. He basically got handed it by some random pirate.
Yeah. Well, and when against Luffy, he seems to be all posturing and some power, but not a lot. He gets taken out pretty quickly. And so, yeah, I agree. It completely connects. All right. So knowing what you know now about Gaimon and his great treasure, and Usopp's now a member of the Straw Hat Pirate. Oh, and they have their Jolly Roger now, too. Usopp is the painter behind that. Turns out he's been doing graffiti he claims that it's 50 years, and at this point the crew is already starting to, like, catch on to his lies, because, like, Zoro and Nami start being like, oh, if he's 50, he's got to have grandkids, and he could keel over at any moment, guys. And Luffy's just like, that's so cool! But anyways... He's been doing graffiti, and I was confused at first, because I've always imagined graffiti as with spray paint cans, and I was like, that seems like advanced technology for the One Piece world, but you can just be a graffiti artist.
Fun fact. This is not related to One Piece at all.
Make it quick.
So, what was the Roman island that got covered in ash when the volcano went? Pompeii. So in Pompeii, when they excavated it, they actually found in the walls stuff etched in it. It's stuff like Romeo was here and stuff like that. So just normal like graffiti stuff. So we've been doing it as long as there's stuff to write on. Yeah,
I guess that's true. Anyways, so Usopp created the Straw Hat Jolly Roger. It's just the regular Jolly Roger with a straw hat on it. Luffy tried to paint it, and he was bad at it because Luffy is only good at one thing, and that's... Well, he's good at two things. He's good at three things. Punching people, eating meat, making friends.
And being very gullible and naive.
I guess that's true.
I don't know if that's the thing he's good at.
Skills that you could actually do.
The second flag was funny too, because so Usopp takes over when they show the crappy one that Luffy makes, and Usopp's first one is just a Luffy or an Usopp flag,
Absolutely.
where it's got like the long nose, and I don't know what else was in the background.
It was like a slingshot. His weapon of choice is one of the crossbones.
And so then they told him, no, you can't do that. And then he made the actual one, which looks good.
Absolutely. People have asked Oda to draw. I don't know if he does it by fan request or if he does it himself in like the data books, but he's drawn flags for each member of the Straw Hat crew, like if they were the captain of their own. And I think Usopp's is just the one that was shown in that episode, which is great. Okay. We got distracted. I was in the middle of a question, then we went off on a tangent about graffiti and Usopp and stuff.
In Pompeii.
What do you think will happen in the next episode?
Okay, so the next episode's going to be a new member. Because we still only have 4 people. We need a bigger crew.
Luffy did say in the Gaiman episode, I think specifically, that 4 is almost a full crew.
That's true. He did say almost. Also, knowing that we're not to the end of the East Blue yet, that's a little bit of like meta knowledge.
Okay.
So there's going to be another crew member. Now, as to the specifics of that, I don't even know where to start. I think once we get into the next one, I think our next episode, we'll tag it onto the end of this, but it'll probably cover the first couple episodes of that arc.
Yep. No, the next episode we're doing is the One Piece movie.
Oh.
Yes.
So I guess not then.
In 2 episodes. Anyway, it doesn't matter. People can follow us on Twitter or Gmail if they want to know our schedule.
The point is, I don't even know where to start. I mean, they're going to go to an island and it's shenanigans will happen and they will bump into the 5th crew member and then they'll do stuff and then he'll join them because Luffy is just like, everybody wants to be with Luffy.
Okay. In a purely platonic way because he's good at making friends.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think he's good at romance.
Yeah, no, we've already established that we don't ship Luffy with everyone.
Could you imagine though if for some reason the plot called for Luffy to try to like date a girl, like he decides that she wants her on the crew and the only way to get her is to like convince her that she's in love with him, so he like tries to bring her flowers but he's stupid, so he just like pulls up like potatoes and there's still like dirt on them. He's like, I got these for you. No, he'd bring meat. He'd bring like a dead boar and be like, meat's my favorite, it's gotta be your favorite.
You must like meat too. Here, it's still dripping with blood. It's freshly hunted.
Fair enough. Now, what if I told you that we've actually had 3 positions on the crew already telegraphed where we've been?
Really?
Yeah. I like that pause there because you can tell that there's like genuine confusion.
In what way? What telegraphed how? Give me like an example.
Luffy specifically said in one episode that they want more crew members to join. This is before they go to Usopp's island. Yeah. And he says like, a cook would be nice, but a musician would be great.
Yeah.
And they're like, why would you prioritize musician above a cook or whatever?
Yeah.
And then the other one is not necessarily, they haven't said you need this on your crew, but they've mentioned the need for that sort of person in most places, and it will become a plot point relevant where someone will look up and say, why don't you guys have one of these? And Luffy will just kind of shrug me like, I don't know. I didn't think about it.
But that's a good point. I remember that now. Did he list any more at that time?
No, he only listed the 2, I think.
I think he probably mentioned Navigator, but they got Nami, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is Usopp's role? I mean, is he just
He's
the Usopp?
Officially listed as the marksman.
Oh, I guess that kind of makes sense because, so if you're in a closer quarter battle, right, and your ships are getting close to each other, you want somebody who can. Mm-hmm. This is just thinking like General Navy. I mean, that's the purpose of part of the purpose of a Marine on a ship. Well, I guess even nowadays is to help defend against borders and that sort of thing. So
yeah, he's also pretty handy with gadgets, but they don't call him like the gadgeteer or whatever you would. But he's useful in that way as well. But that's not his official position. He's the marksman, also official joke teller. I'm assuming. I don't think that's his official title.
The professional liar.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so. Of these 4 episodes, and feel free to nominate 2 if you want to. One for the Kuro episodes, one for the Gaiman episodes. MVP.
MVP, okay.
And we're at the end of an arc with the Kuro Usopp stuff, so feel free to pick an MVP from all of the Kuro stuff. Don't try to remember just what we've seen this time.
Okay, let me think. I'm debating. Can I give the Kuro one to 2 people?
Sure.
I want to give it to Usopp and Zoro.
Okay. Show your work.
Yes. So, first of all, it's Usopp's arc. And so it shows kind of some personal growth for him, and showing that despite his reputation, he can stand up for something when he really thinks he needs to.
Unless his body's too badly damaged.
Yeah,
then
okay,
he'll get
so-
children to fight his battles for him.
He can't physically stand up, but he will make a stand in whatever way he can.
He will do the best he can, absolutely. Okay.
Even if that means involving children to fight a grown man.
All right, and Zoro's shining moments. Or moment.
I mean, so Zoro, there's all he's the main actor in the fights on the beachhead.
Sure.
But I'm nominating him specifically because he helps out Usopp. So
Okay.
he picks up Usopp and helps him achieve his goals, right? When Usopp can't physically carry on.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I think that's why I wanted to nominate both of them, because their partnership is during the last few episodes is important, I think.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, Luffy does a good job fighting and all that, and that's impressive. That fight scene is impressive, but I want to nominate those two.
Okay. I would give it to Usopp. Zoro's pretty cool, but that's also more of kind of a supporting role, a little bit.
Yeah.
We also have slightly different opinions about Zoro, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I could not put Zoro in there, but I also didn't want to just give it to Zoro because he's Zoro.
Okay.
I didn't want to give it to him just because I dream about him every night. I wanted to make sure that there were legitimate reasons that he was... No, I agree. I think Usopp's probably the primary, and then Zoro
Has
is a
some
support
pretty
role.
good moments, yeah. I also liked the Luffy fight. I think I commented on this when we watched Buggy. He didn't do a whole lot. And I mean, Buggy's whole thing is I'm going to avoid getting hit, but Nami was kind of the MVP with tying him up or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
Luffy didn't really do anything cool or smart sort of thing. But in this, you get Kuro doing some kind of weird stuff, and Luffy catches on, like, immediately on how he's going to counterattack and how he's going to defeat this, and
Yeah.
you get some really good righteous rage. I cannot
Yeah.
talk. But you get this, like, because Kuro hates his own crew because he thinks they're basically simple-minded idiots. And Luffy's like, those are your crewmates, my good sir, and I will now punch you.
That's fair. Yeah, no, I guess if I had to rank them, I probably would have to do Usopp, then Luffy, then Zoro. Because I guess, your arguments are sound. You have sound arguments, Joel.
Good. I don't have light arguments or
Or
sticky arguments? Is that-
felt arguments that are felt physically.
Okay, there we go.
Or tasty arguments. You can have tasty arguments. I'm going to use that from now on.
All right.
As for the other one, it's hard to give an MVP to the Gaiman one. I mean,
I'm calling it, it's the rabbit snake. That thing is adorable.
okay, we'll give it to the rabbit snake, Joel.
Why not?
Yeah.
Right? Nothing really happened in this episode.
You know what? We're going to give it to the actual protector god, who during this whole time just decided, you know what? Whatever. I'm not going to punish this random dude who's stranded on my island just because he's being a jackass to everyone around. Oh, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that.
No, that's fine, I think. When you say badass all the time.
Okay. Should I start over?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
I wasn't being sarcastic.
Anyways, he could have punished Gaiman anytime he wanted to, but he didn't. He let him live there peacefully and really taught him a lesson about nature.
MVP is the merciful god. Okay.
The unknown, unnamed, uncredited merciful god.
We also get a moment of how I think it's Usopp says something about, like, you're not even a lesser deity then, when they find out that he's a person, which I guess just means that we have ranks of gods in the One Piece world. I'm not super familiar with the Japanese religion. I know that they have, like, different spirits, I believe, right? And so
You're outside of my range of knowledge.
Let's not comment on religion that we know nothing about, because I think that's a great way to accidentally upset some people. And we're not trying to be mean, we're trying to be funny. Okay.
Oh wait, we're trying to be funny? I've been being serious this whole time.
sure.
I didn't know I was supposed to be making jokes, Joel.
Okay, so does anything from these episodes feel like it could be expanded upon later in a foreshadowy kind of way?
So I guess you could call Kuro foreshadow, because he got put back with his crew, right?
Yeah, he's not detained at the end of this episode.
Even though he said he hates his crew and was going to kill them all so that just like tie up all the loose ends, right? So that'll be interesting. Also, nobody ever came to get Jongo. There wasn't like a specific foreshadow moment. Not like him sitting there and his hand twitches or something like that. But nobody did anything with him, so I'm assuming he's coming back.
Sure.
I have a hard time because they don't use, at least up till now, they haven't had a specific like moment of foreshadow, right?
I would love to. Well, in the third episode of the anime, there's a moment, or hang on, wait, I need to make sure the numbers are exactly right in my head. In the fourth episode of the anime, I guarantee it's number 4, there is a moment that I know you saw and you recognize on the podcast, and you're like, okay, that's a thing that happened. And that was specific foreshadowing setup for something that will come back in, I am not joking, 400 episodes.
Okay.
But mostly when I ask that question, what I'm trying to figure out is, did they ever allude to some part of the world that they haven't been to yet? You're eventually going to get to the point where people start mentioning, oh yes, the legendary Gold Island, and like, oh, is there actually a Gold Island? Or the Straw Hat's going to go there eventually? But there wasn't anything like that in these episodes.
No, we didn't have anything like that.
Okay. So now we're done with the kind of general questions that we ask every episode. Let's talk Kuro and Usopp. We've now gotten to the end of their... Oh, I do want to say you said that the Kuro said that he hated his pirates and he went back with his pirates. I don't know for sure, but I think that they would probably turn him in, right? Like, 'cause there's a bounty on his head, you'd think, and he clearly is going to kill them, so I have no idea why they would let him lead them again.
That would be the logical thing, but also his crew seemed like a bunch of idiots. I could also see them just willingly accepting him as their leader again. But you're right. If they were true pirates, at this point, they would take him, turn him in while he was, like, make sure he was, like, tied up in that. Mm-hmm. And then turn him in right away.
Okay, but we're at the end of the Syrup Village arc. We now can talk about Usopp. We can now talk about Kuro. I've already touched upon it. Usopp is a fascinating character to me. Oda has come out and said that Usopp will always be the most quote-unquote human of the crew members, which I think is really interesting. A lot of people construe that as he will always be the weakest, which I think is also technically true. But when it comes to if there's a really heavy door, I actually would trust Usopp to be able to open it before Nami. I think in terms of physical strength, Usopp is second lowest. But in terms of his ability to punch rocks with his bare fist, or to be able to face a dragon and be like, yes, I'm the action hero that will defeat the dragon. He's definitely the most relatable to us, the crew members, the viewers.
Yeah, well, because all the other characters are very shonen anime, right? They're either over the top strong, fearless, but they have some sort of unrealistic qualities about them.
Yep.
But Usopp is very down to earth, right? And like him struggling to stand up at that fight was a good example. Like, a typical shonen anime person, his will alone would allow him to stand up. Usopp really wanted to stand up, but he physically could not.
Yeah, it's great. I look forward to discussing Usopp more later. There are some fascinating quotes from that guy, and he's pretty great. On to Kuro. I need to fanboy all about Kuro. I love his fast technique. I love his design. He very much looks like the butler he plays, even back before when he was on the Kuro Pirates. I like his ruthlessness and his cutthroatness. His moral compass is, it's justified so long as it's part of the plan. It doesn't matter if that plan is throwing children, women, and animals in a vat of oil and lighting a match and throwing it on there. So long as he planned it out, it's okay. And you don't double-cross him, you don't mess with the plan, you don't try to undermine his authority, because he gets absolute respect from the people beneath. Well, respect and fear, depending on the situation.
Yeah. Well, and he's also extremely selfish, right?
Yes.
So if you think about it, he was willing to sacrifice his crew because they were not useful to him anymore. He didn't sacrifice Django because he could still be useful, I'm guessing. But
he said he was going to kill Django.
Oh,
he just wasn't there when he started using the "I'm attacking everything" technique.
Yeah. But so I think motivation-wise, everything is about him getting what he wants, right?
Yeah, screw everyone else.
Yeah, which is, typical pirate.
Yeah, 100%. I mentioned at one point in the podcast that I feel like each pirate crew kind of represents something different, and then Luffy facing them is kind of his internal response to that. And the more I think about it, the more I don't think that Buggy necessarily fits that role. I don't think Buggy had an ideal that Luffy argued against, except for maybe Treasure. Buggy thought that, okay, there you go. I just talked myself into the thing that I was trying to argue about.
Good job, Joel. You don't need a co-host. Keep going.
No, so you have Buggy, who believes that the only thing that can be valuable is actual valuables, things that you can sell at the market or trade for goods, or anything that's shiny or flashy.
Yeah.
You have Morgan, who's all about authority equals power. So if I'm in a higher position than you, that means I'm right, even if I'm an idiot. And now you have Kuro, whose whole thing is about, well, his personal thing is about plans, but his arc is about not being willing to live with the infamy of being a pirate, even though he clearly at some point chose to be a pirate.
Yeah.
And Luffy even says, like, I'm never gonna be like you. You only think of... You only wanted to do this for a little while. This was like a side job. I do this professionally, sort of thing. And I find that an interesting reflection, I guess, of kind of how Luffy sees this. Luffy's a pirate for life, as the kids would say.
You know, if you think about it, so Kuro being the captain of the cat pirate crew,
Black cat pirates.
Yeah, is very cat-like. He wants attention when he wants it, but then he doesn't want it anymore. And he throws a hissy fit and kills everybody so he just can stop getting attention.
Yes. I've changed my mind. Kill the crew. All right. I think that's just about everything for the episodes that we have already watched. Keeping in mind that if you think we've covered everything, you can say so. Do you have any final thoughts?
I had one. I'm trying to remember what it was now. Give me a second.
Was it the thought of Kuro dropping a dead bird at Kaya's feet as a present because he is a cat? I brought this to you.
That would be a good one. No, it had to do with Kuro, and I don't remember what it was now. Oh well, I'll remember it later when we're no longer recording.
Of course. That's naturally how it's going to work. And it'll be in a situation where you can't, like, write it down on a piece of paper to talk about later or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm going to be in the middle of a high-speed chase down the highway. I'm like, oh, crap, I remember what I was going to say now. If I can't do it, it would be dangerous. Not that what I'm doing right now is not already dangerous.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so that covers our thoughts about these current episodes. I want to try to do something that's a little change from our regular format. I did not run this by you, so let's hear you reject my ideas outright in a recording setting.
No.
Wow. Okay, you recorded my desire to be rejected on camera, so that means, okay, I have your implicit approval. Perfect. So what I'm going to try to do is in a theoretical world, what I want this podcast to be is a celebration of the things that make One Piece great. So I'm going to try to entice you, someone who hasn't seen the next arc, or probably doesn't remember it very well, with my kind of epic voice description. And hopefully I get better at this because I don't do very many epic voices. But let's see how this plays out. Episode 19 begins the Barati arc, or the Baratier arc. I couldn't figure out how it was pronounced. Upon arriving at a floating restaurant at sea, Luffy and crew meet a man with unwavering kindness, a kindness which could prove his undoing. Yet, in the face of danger, he is unwilling to compromise, leading to a fierce confrontation. A pirate admiral appears, a man who has been to the Grand Line and returned alive. He has enough firepower to make any enemy pirate shake in fear. Can Luffy and his crew protect the Baratier along with their new friend? Meanwhile, a mysterious man appears, and we discover Zoro's true opponent. He's prepared his whole life for this battle, and let us see the power of a warlord of the sea. That's it.
I'm enticed.
You are enticed?
I'm very enticed.
I'm glad. Also, we need to listen and figure out if it's Baratier or Barati.
Okay. We're assuming that they pronounce it right in the dub.
Yeah, I would assume. I would hope so.
I noticed some inconsistent. We're spiraling again, Joel.
One quick thing that I do want to note: you predicted that the next episode they'd land on an island.
I was thinking that
there was no island.
That's
no island.
That was the only part I guessed too, and I was wrong.
All right, folks, the outro will go here, and be sure to join us for episode... Are we on 14? We're on 14, so episode 15 probably comes out next week if we can manage it.
Yep. See y'all later.
Yes. Also, it covers the One Piece movie. Curtis, you want to tell everyone?
I just wanted to say bye for a change.
You said bye.
I did, but then it wasn't really goodbye.
Most of our episodes have been most of the King of the What Now episodes have been following the anime episodes. I just want to make it clear, next episode will be special because we'll be watching a movie. The One Piece movie. All right, folks, we've reached the end of this episode for today. It's sad to see you go, but fortunately we'll be here next week unless we get hit by a meteor. In the meantime, you can follow us on all sorts of different social media. We have Gmail, Patreon, Tumblr, all of those are King of the What Pod. So patreon.com/King of the What Pod, King of the What Pod @gmail.com, kingofthewhatpod.tumblr.com. That's all great. If you want to follow us on Twitter, that name's a little different. They restrict the length of your handles. So you can follow us on Twitter at Kotwin_pod. That's KOTWN_pod. Just take the name of the podcast and abbreviate it.
Also, please take a moment to rate and review our podcast on whatever platform you're using to listen. That can be iTunes, Spotify, or whatever. Not only will this help others find the podcast, but your constructive feedback will help us improve the show as we go. We hope to grow and improve just like the Straw Hat Crew.
Thanks again for listening in. Be sure to check the feed next week for the latest episode of King of the What Now. Until then, follow your dreams and protect your treasure.
Remember, that doesn't need to be literal treasure.